1 is inequalities of outcome, etc., pupils with speech, language and communication needs. And I call Amendment 17 in the name of George Adam, which is grouped with Amendments 19, 20, 23 to 28, 33 to 37, 40 and 41. I call George Adam to move Amendment 17 and speak to all of the amendments in the group. Please, Mr Adam.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. Can I first move all the amendments? Closing the educational gap is a key priority for the Scottish Government, and I wholeheartedly support them in that aim. But we need to, and we must, look at the full picture. If we believe that poverty is a factor in educational attainment, then we must look at the poverty-related educational issues. And I believe that many children from our poorest areas are experiencing poverty, both financially and also poverty of speech and language. If you turn up at school in primary one unable to communicate in a way that helps you engage, you're going to struggle for the rest of your school life. And I've tabled all these amendments today because I'm convinced that 50% or more children living in poverty don't have delayed speech, language and communication development, which leads to poor literacy and numeracy skills, which leads inevitably to inequality of outcomes. There are, Presiding Officer, a couple of fundamental points to make in this argument. The statistics linking socio-economic disadvantage, poverty with speech, language and communication delay are compelling. The Scottish Government commissioned report tackling inequalities in early years, key messages from 10 years of growing up in Scotland study 2015 highlights that 54% of children from low-income households present below average vocabulary ability at age 5. There is also the fact that living in poverty means you are around 8 times more likely to turn up at primary school with a SLC delay than the average child, of whom only 6% have the disorder. Growing up in Scotland also highlights SLC delay in staggering 34% higher among poorer children than children from richer income groups. So when I'm saying with these, Presiding Officer, with all these amendments, is that we have to look at the bigger, the larger picture when it's poverty, because if we're saying that poverty is an issue, then we also have to say that how do we address many of these issues. And SLC delay is the second highest type of difficulty recorded amongst children from low-income families. It's just 1 point lower than 55% not being breastfed, which rightly attracts a lot of strategic attention. So unlike SLC delay, my amendments are not about making a special case for a special group and with complex additional support needs. It's not about that, and I believe there's been some confusion. They are about poverty. These amendments, in fact, address the biggest, most common barrier to learning faced by a majority of children living in poverty, and which this bill explicitly sets out to help. The statistics linking SLC delay with inequality of outcomes are equally attention-grabbing. The recent Save the Children report, Ready to Read, Closing the Gap in Early Language Skills so that every child in Scotland can read well, highlighted the importance of early language skills in setting the foundation of children's later literacy and education. Perhaps even more startling are the studies which have repeatedly shown the majority of children and young people who are in crisis, excluded or troubled after have SLC needs. I've often spoke, Presiding Officer, about times when I've went to see young offenders institutes and met the young people, and they've often said that if they'd had this opportunity, they might not have been in the place that they've been in. These are the type of people that have this type of disorder. So the amendments, Presiding Officer, I have tabled aim to establish an awareness of strong associations between socio-economic disadvantage, speech, language and communication delay and subsequent low attainment and inequalities of outcome. It gets focused, cross-agency, cross-discipline partnerships action on speech, language and communication, and ultimately reduces inequalities of outcomes for at least half of Scotland's poorest children. Young people who arrive at primary school with delayed speech, language and communication development and then carry this learning disadvantage throughout their school lives into adult life, when they are statistically more likely to become poor parents of future generations. And that, I believe, is the key issue in this debate. Presiding Officer, I believe that this grouping of amendments can help us achieve the goals that we all want to achieve, to ensure that all of our children get that opportunity and we can close that attainment gap.